As we continue to be confined to our homes during a series of lockdowns, perhaps like me, you've been watching more and more on the little screen. The big screen of the cinema has been denied to us, so we've missed that sense of event or occasion of going to the cinema, the theatre, or opera, or concert. But some of the major venues have taken to streaming past recordings of productions, and perhaps you have seen some of those. Netflix, Amazon Prime and iPlayers might have sustained you similarly. We can't have the real thing, but it is the next best thing. Or perhaps you've been reading biographies, novels, poetry even. Whatever is your preference, all of these things bring the world into our hearts and souls. We cannot go out into the world much, but the world is so close to touch on page, airwaves and screen. It was the Swiss theologian Karl Barth who said that a sermon should be preached with the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other. And there's been a lot of that going on, at least from the pulpits that have been open. But it is equally useful, if not better, to engage the Bible with what we read, see, or otherwise absorb through films and books. It's so easy to read, watch, even sing without attention. How often do you pay real attention to the words of a hymn, for example? But actually, it is a really exciting thing to do. Of course, we can watch the biblical films, the greatest movie of the greatest story ever told, described on its cover as a magnificent film, handled with reverence, artistic appreciation and admirable restraint. A true 55-year-old classic, which one might put alongside Franco Zeffirelli's 1977 Jesus of Nazareth, or even Mel Gibson's brutally convincing The Passion of the Christ, which came out in 2004. These and other interpretations of the ministry, life, death and resurrection of Jesus will likely be shown on the television this Easter. And if lockdowns prevent us going to church, we can at least watch one of these films as a kind of spiritual discipline on Good Friday. The greatest story ever told gives us 3 hours and 11 minutes at the cross. And of course, one doesn't have to watch or read religious content to be reflective, even mission-focused culturally. Sister Wendy Beckett once described a distinction between religious art, sacred art and spiritual art. A biblical epic can be all three, but some films, operas or books can even have sacred themes or even spiritual content without appearing to. These, in some sense, are the most interesting. In fact, I challenge you to find a seriously good film that can't provoke spiritual reflection. All art is spiritual and bears scrutiny under the lens of the gospel. From Pulp Fiction to Chocolat to the Matrix series, there is always much to ponder. I would also recommend Amazing Grace, the story of the abolition of the slave trade, or Creation, which is all about Charles Darwin, or Kingdom of Heaven, which is all about the Crusades, or Babette's Feast, which is thoroughly Eucharistic in its meaning. All of these are worth viewing through the lens of faith. And many films, and the books they may be based on, have themes of redemption, forgiveness, salvation, grace, love, good and evil at their heart. I barely need to mention Harry Potter. Think about superheroes for a moment. Spider-Man, Superwoman, Wonder Woman even. There she is. We all have our favourite saviours of the world. Even James Bond saves the world on a regular basis. For many action movies are not only about good conquering evil, they are about salvation. From the basic genre of fairy tales in which everyone lives and loves happily ever after, we have evolved the superhero who comes to the rescue. It's not all damsels in distress now, thankfully, but whether it is an oversized gorilla, nuclear Armageddon, or a terrorist outrage, it invariably ends well, as it does with Jesus Christ, the ultimate rescuer of humankind. Think of Graham Greene and Agatha Christie. These writers weren't as much interested in gory crimes committed on the Orient Express or around the rocks of Brighton. Sailing in the wake of a modernist aesthetic that made everything seem dark and despairing and confusing, they wrote stories of detectives, including the most famous Belgian who never existed, Hercule Poirot, and he solved things. Hercule is Hercules, the strong man who sorts it all out. Graham Greene's approach was a bit more highbrow and arguably more spiritual, But in our confusing times of today, perhaps a rewind to Graham's Greenland might be rewarding, comforting, enlightening even. There is a wealth of literature out there, and a digital farm's worth of music movie content, all of which we can watch not only with pleasure, but inquisitively, reflectively, prayerfully even. Perhaps gather some friends, watch a film, and then meet on Zoom to discuss it. God is in the midst of them, unknown perhaps, but present, solving and saving.